me on the mat. We'll start in any form of easy seated, kneeling pose, whatever feels most comfortable for our first few minutes as we settle into this space. And we're actually going to start with a reflective meditation today. But let's settle into our breath and our bodies, settling into the space around us. Starting by taking a few deep breaths in through the nose and letting it out through the mouth. Noticing the muscles in our faces soften, the forehead, the cheek, the jaw. Noticing how our breath enters the body and expands our rib cage laterally. And noticing the contact our bodies make on the earth beneath us. And to start, I will share a little bit of perspective of a Belgian psychotherapist that I've been following. And as we've been focused this week on building our resilience through our plank work, we have proven our ability to manage stressful and challenging situations through our breath and knowledge that we are in control of our emotions and reactions. We continue to build this resilience as a tool in our toolbox. But today we're going to reflect on our collective resilience, celebrating the new normal of sharing the small things with one another, the things that perhaps we didn't feel we needed to share before. And these shares help us to build this collective resilience that can help us deal with the loss of control, the prolonged uncertainty, and the stressors that affect us as a result of this pandemic. And what will help us to get through this, in addition to our own toolbox, is this sense of mass mutual resilience and a deep sense of interdependence, that we are living a shared experience and that collectively we will get through this. This will help us remain productive, less stressed, and able to maintain a sense of connection with one another. And this will be our greatest source of resilience for dealing with challenging situations, uncertainty, and any loss of excitement we may be experiencing. So with that, take a moment to perhaps reflect on our own participation and role in this collective resilience, which might perhaps frame our intention for today's practice and the days ahead. Bringing our awareness back to the space around us, we blink our eyes open, and we're actually going to come to standing. So in whichever way we get there the most gently, transitioning up maybe onto our toes, maybe through all fours, and coming up, bringing our feet underneath our hips. We're going to add a breath of joy today to warm up our bodies and to bring smiles to our faces, a gentle energization to get ourselves moving. So the breath of joy is 3 inhales through the nose and 1 exhale. And it will look like this. So when you're ready, come on in and join me. Going to the rhythm of our own breath, the speed that suits our bodies. Bringing in fresh air, curiosity, space and light. And exhaling anything that doesn't serve us. We'll do a few more. One more. Coming coming back to standing, rolling up gently and slowly, bringing our hands to our sides, rolling our shoulders back. Deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. One more just like that. Running through a quick body scan from head to toe, getting a sense of the energy of our bodies, a sense of the lightness or heaviness we might be feeling, movement or stillness. Feeling the grounding of our feet below us. And on the next inhale, we'll reach our arms all the way up, grabbing the left wrist with our right hand, rooting through the left hip and the left foot, reaching tall, elongating the side bodies. Deep breaths in, and then over to the right. Gentle side bend here. Feeling the rooting down through the left side, the connection with the earth. Two more big breaths. Feeling an elongation of the side body and a steady rhythm of breath. Inhaling, we come back to center. Reaching up, feeling the length in our side bodies, grabbing the right wrist with the left hand, deep breaths in. And on the exhale, we come over to the left. Once again, finding the grounding through our right side body, the right hip, the right foot. And an elongation, breathing deeply into the right side. Calm and steady. One more big breath. Coming back to center. Inhale, reaching tall. Exhale, swan diving forward. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, we sweep the arms up. Keeping our arms high, allowing the right arm to float to the side of our leg. Deep breath in, we reach tall with the left arm. And then on the exhale, we come over to the right side. Finding the rooting. Noticing our left glute engaged, keeping our hips underneath us. One more breath. Reaching tall, bringing our right arm up and allowing our left arm to float down. Tall torso. And on the exhale, we come over to the left side. Releasing any tension in the left side of the neck and the shoulder. Feeling the right glute engaged, pressing our hips underneath us. For one more breath. And on the next inhale, we reach both arms all the way up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, we reach all the way up. Hands to heart. Deep breath in between. Floating through our cat-cow in chair sequence. We're going to open our arms up, lifting our hearts, drawing our shoulder blades in and back, and then we can round forward, giving ourselves a big hug, lowering our chin to chest, floating with our breath. Gentle back bend, opening our hearts, bringing all the love in towards ourselves, and then letting our light and love shine through, sharing it with others. 3 more. Activating our Ujjayi breath, deep breaths in and out through the nose. 2 more. Bring all that light and love in towards us. And then let it out. Inhale, reaching the arms all the way up. Exhale, swan diving forward. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reaching our arms up. Hands to heart. And we'll float through our squat sequence, moving our feet a little bit wider than hip width apart so that we can sink into Malasana. Inhale, reaching the arms up. Palms together. Exhale, we float down. Inhale, we swoop forward. Exhale, we ragdoll up, stacking the vertebrae, shoulders, neck, and head, flowing through our breath. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, we float down, opening our legs as needed, sinking into the hips, warming the entire body. We'll do one more. Great. Reaching our arms up. Swan diving forward. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Bringing our hands to the earth. We're going to step back 1 foot at a time, coming into a down dog. Paddling it out, taking a few moments here to get a sense of the sensations in the back of our legs, running through the hamstrings, down the calf muscles, maybe shifting our weight with our hips, maybe even opening up the side body a little bit if that feels good. Listening to our bodies and maintaining our steady rhythm of breath in and out through the nose. We're going to flow through a gentle vinyasa today with one single lunge, the gentle rotation, opening up our hearts, drawing lightness and love through our heart center. One more breath here, and we'll come to stillness, pressing both heels towards the mat, allowing our heads to hang heavy. We'll lift our right leg off the earth, letting it float all the way up. Maybe shortening our dog for stability. Bending at the knee, rotating open. Allowing the hips to open towards the wall. The knee is stacked on top of the hips. Checking in with the side body again. How are we feeling? Rotating back to center, we float the right knee forward, stepping into a crescent lunge here, keeping the left hand firmly planted and opening up the right arm, lifting it over our chest, reaching tall, and maybe even reaching back, a gentle back bend. Calm, steady rhythm of breath. Bring both hands to the mat. Gentle Vinyasa, bringing both feet together. Plank. The elbows are wrapped forward. We float down, bringing our entire body to the earth, flattening our feet. Gentle Cobra. Holding here for a few breaths. Breathing into the lower back. Lifting our chests tall. Good. And we float our chest back to the earth. Curling our toes, coming into our kneeling plank, gently pressing up and down dog. Pedaling it out, or finding stillness if that's preferable. 3 breaths in between. And then on the next inhale, we let our left leg float up. Finding length, finding stability, pressing all our weight into our right heel. Bending the knee, rotating the hips open. And again, checking in with what's happening in the left side body from the armpit through the lower back into the hip and knee. And we rotate back to center, gently floating our knee through. Crescent lunge, keeping our right hand firmly planted, finding stability, and then opening up the left arm. Maybe adding a gentle back bend as we reach the left arm back. Depending on how we're feeling, we're going to do this sequence a few times, opening our hearts, creating lightness in our chest. Good. Bringing both hands to the earth. Gentle Vinyasa, bringing our feet together. Arms are wrapped forward. We lower our torso all the way to the earth, flattening our feet. Gentle Cobra. And we lower all the way back down, pressing back up through our kneeling plank and into our down dog. 3 big breaths in between. And then we'll do that all over again. Allowing our right leg to float off the earth, bending at the knee, opening the hips. Shortening our dog for stability as needed. Calm, steady rhythm of breath. Good. Rotating back to center, bringing our right knee through, stepping into our low crescent lunge. Left hand is planted, right arm opens up. Either reaching it up above the body or gentle back bend, lifting the heart center. Deep breaths in. Exhale, both hands come to the earth, bringing our feet together. Gentle plank, Vinyasa, and Cobra. 3 big breaths here. We float our way back to prone pose, curling our toes, kneeling plank, down dog. A few breaths in between to reset. Seeing how any sensations in our body may have changed or may be transforming. And on the next inhale, we lift our left leg up, bending the knee, rotating the hips open. Seeing if we can't maintain our calm, steady rhythm of breath. Rotating back to center, floating our left knee through, stepping into our crescent lunge. Right hand is planted, left arm opens up. Gentle back bend. Lifting our chest high, and creating that space and lightness in our chest through our hearts. Floating our left hand to the earth, stepping through to our gentle plank vinyasa. Good. And we float our way back through our kneeling plank into our down dog. Taking those few breaths in between to reset, letting our heads hang heavy through our arms. And we'll do one more on each side. Allowing our right leg to float up, bending at the knee, rotating the hips open. Good, floating back to center, right knee comes to chest, steps through, left hand is planted, we open up the right side. Reaching tall, maybe reaching back, gentle back bend. Checking in with the right hip, glute, IT bend, knee. Keeping our left arm and leg strong. Gentle and steady rhythm of breath. Excellent. Right hand comes to the earth, gentle vinyasa. To our speed, you know where we're going. Either an upward facing or a cobra. And we meet up in our down dog. Taking our few breaths in between. Good, on our next inhale, we float our left leg up. Bending at the knee, rotating the hips open. Making sure our neck and our jaw are not holding tension. Floating back to center, stepping through, keeping our right hand planted, opening the left side when we get there. Checking in with the left hip, IT bend, glute, and knee. Maybe we open a bit farther this time, bringing more lightness across our chest and our heart. Feeling the grounding of our right hand and left foot. Good. Bringing our left hand down to the earth. Gentle vinyasa, cobra, or upward facing dog. Gently floating through to our down dog. And we take a few breaths here. Resetting, checking in with the sensations in the back body. The space we're creating between the vertebrae. And then we'll float down into child's pose. Bringing our knees underneath us, Sinking our hips back, walking the hands out. Good. Inhaling, drawing ourselves back up into all fours. Curling our toes, stepping back up into our down dog. Allowing our right leg to float high. Option to bend the knee and open up. And then we'll float back to center, stepping all the way through. Lowering our left knee down to the earth. Flattening the left foot. Good. We're going to sink our hips forward, supporting ourselves with our left hand or fist. And then option to lift the back foot, reaching back, walking our right foot to the edge of the mat as needed for stability. Option to grab onto the foot, quadricep stretch here, drawing the heel towards the glute, tall torso. We lift the right side of our chest high, and we gaze over our right shoulder. Opening up, drawing all that lightness into our chests. Feeling the grounding of our left hand, pressing the earth away. We're not collapsing into our left arms. Noticing any micro gains, changes of our sensations, and our flexibility. Good. Releasing out of that, bringing both hands to the earth. Stepping back up, lifting the left knee off the earth, stepping our right foot back to meet it, gentle plank vinyasa. And then we meet up in down dog. And on the next inhale, we'll let our left leg float up. Option to bend at the knee, opening up the hips. Noticing how the tension and blocked energy may have moved around. Good, floating back to center, stepping through. Keeping our right hand planted, low lunge, bringing our right knee and right foot to the mat. Maybe walking the left foot out. Lifting our right foot. Reaching back, opening and lifting our chest. Option to grab onto the right foot and draw the heel into the glute. Maintaining a tall torso, pressing the earth away. Breathing in, sense of lightness. And breathing out any blocked energy or emotions that don't serve us. Noticing those micro gains. Not pushing too far, too fast, so that our bodies know that it's safe to let go of these stresses. Excellent. Releasing out of that, bringing both hands to the earth, lifting our right knee, stepping back, plank vinyasa, nice and gentle. And we meet up in down dog. Three big breaths here. And then we'll lower back into child's pose, this time bringing our knees to the sides of the mat, the toes are together, we sink our hips back. Option to wiggle out the wrists, option to bring the hands behind the back. Interlacing, reaching the arms above our backs if that feels good at this point, stretching through the shoulders, into the arms and into the wrists. Allowing our hands to come back to the earth when they're ready to do so. And then we bring ourselves into all fours, bringing the knees underneath us, curling the toes underneath our shins, stepping back up into down dog. Deep breath in through the nose, then we exhale, pressing back. On the next inhale, we lift our left leg. Bending at the knee, opening the hips if that still feels good. Rotating to center, stepping all the way through. Low lunge, right knee and right foot come to the earth. The left toes are going to peel off and we're going to float our hips back over top of the right knee. Working through the hamstring and the calf muscle, keeping the toe flexed, tall torsos. Hinging as and when our body allows. Energy starts to move through the back of the left leg. Noticing what's happening in our faces and our jaw. Are we holding tension there? Let's see if we can't move it around. Maintaining an elongated spine. Again, we're not pushing too far, too fast. The more we practice this tool on the mat, the better able we'll be through those challenging situations day to day. A few more breaths here, noticing these micro gains as we slowly start to melt into the leg. Breathing in lightness, warmth, space. Good. Shifting our hips forward, planting the left foot. Plank vinyasa. Same speed as we've been doing. Or of course, speeding it up or slowing it down even more as suits us. And we'll all meet back up in down dog, slow and steady. Taking our few breaths here. And on the next inhale, we float our right leg up. Once again, option to tighten up our dog, finding our stability, bending our knee and opening up the hips. Coming back to center, floating all the way through into our low lunge. Left knee and left foot make contact. And then we peel our right foot off the earth, shifting our heel forward. Our hips are stacked over the left knee, tall torso, elongating the spine. Keeping the toes flexed on the right foot, we hinge forward slowly. Finding support as needed. Maintaining a flat spine. We're not rounding out the lower back. And again, we're not pushing too far, too fast. Just allowing our bodies to melt, to make those micro gains. One more breath. And then we'll float back through our gentle vinyasa, pressing our right foot to the earth, shifting our hips forward, fingers and hands plant, and we step through and float down. Meeting us in down dog. Taking a few breaths here. Shifting or finding stillness as we desire. Maybe noticing different sensations running down the back of the legs. And last sequence through, floating our left leg up, bending at the knee, opening the hips, optional. Our 5 breaths here. Rotating our hips back to center, we float our left knee all the way through, bringing the left knee to the left wrist, right foot to the right wrist, coming into our pigeon. So walking ourselves forward and back. With the toes of the right foot, we can draw our torsos back a little bit, pressing the earth away with our fingertips, opening up our abdomen, lifting our chests and our gaze. Breathing into our lower backs. And then slowly bringing our chin parallel to the floor. Walking our hands forward, slowly melting into our left hip over the left side. Walking as our bodies allow, releasing that energy. Maintaining our elongated spine. And a gentle gaze on our faces and in our jaw. Being curious about the sensations we may be feeling in various parts of our bodies. Good. On the next inhale, we'll press ourselves up with our hands. We're going to roll out of that gently, but we're going to bring our right leg all the way in front of us, The left knee stays on the mat, so we're shifting our hips over to the right. The left hand comes underneath our shoulder, and we're coming into our bit of our flip dog practice here. So planting our right foot, lifting our hips, bringing our right arm up and over, gentle back bend, pressing our hips forward. Calm, steady rhythm of breath. Reaching our arm over our ear or our face. Finding somewhere to gaze at. Pressing the earth away with our left hand, we're not collapsing. Beautiful. Come on down, bringing the hips down. Good. And we'll roll ourselves back up into a little ball, into all fours, and stepping back into our down dog. Gently getting there, however our bodies allow. Good. Last time, floating our right leg off the earth. Bending the knee, opening the hips. Again, if that feels good. 5 big breaths here. Good. We float the hips back to center, bringing our right knee all the way through. Maybe walking the hands, right knee comes to right wrist. Toes come to the left side. And then we walk ourselves back with our left toes. Pressing the earth away to start. Pressing into the fingertips, lifting our torso top. Opening the abdomen. Bringing our hearts closer to the sun. And then slowly lowering our chins parallel to the floor. And we can walk our hands out, sinking over the right hip, into the right hip, maintaining a tall spine, elongation, breathing space between the vertebrae as we melt closer towards the earth. Slow and steady, exploring all the sensations we might be feeling and sensing. Taking our time and celebrating any micro gains that we might be feeling. Good. On the next inhale, we'll press ourselves up with our hands. Once again, flipping our left leg, so coming over onto the right hip, bringing our left leg around. Scooching ourselves over to the left side of the mat so that the right knee is cushioned. When we come into our wild thing prep, right hand comes under the shoulder. We press our hips up. Bringing our left foot to the earth, opening up our abdomen, lifting our chests and our arms, reaching tall. Gentle back bend. Making the pose fit our bodies, however that might be for us today. Pressing the earth away with our right hand. Calm, steady rhythm of breath. And then we float our hips all the way back. Bringing both feet in front of us, staff pose. We'll reach our arms all the way up over our shoulders, flexing our feet. Toes are pointed to the sky. And then we'll hinge forward. Holding here, either allowing our arms to float to our shins, keeping them parallel, pulsing, whatever feels good at this point in our practice. Perhaps we need a dynamic stretch, perhaps we need a passive stretch. Just doing whatever feels good for our body. Maybe even bringing the right hand across to the left leg, gentle twist. It's all about what feels good for us at this point. Keeping our toes flexed. Breathing into any areas of discomfort. Noticing patterns of tension that we might be holding on to. And perhaps we can melt them away with the heat and warmth of the sun that we breathe in. Five more big breaths. Good. And we'll roll ourselves up one vertebrae at a time, shoulders, neck, and head. Coming back into an easy seated pose. Bringing one foot in front of the other. Maybe the heels are in alignment, or the ankles. Good. Inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale, we'll rotate, bringing one hand in front, one behind, pressing into the fingertips. Lifting our torsos, looking over the shoulder. Gentle rotation of the spine, drawing our breath up and down the spine, nourishing all of the tissues that run along the spine with our breath. One more breath here. And on the next inhale, we'll sweep our arms up over our shoulders, bringing our torso back to center. Exhale, we lower our arms opposite side, bringing our fingertips back to the earth, pressing up. Tall torso, looking over our opposite shoulder. Breathing into any areas of discomfort. Consciously melting those areas away. Good. On the next inhale, we'll sweep our arms all the way back up. Exhale, we hinge forward, bringing our hands to the earth. Slowly melting our torsos forward. 5 big breaths here. And then on the next inhale, we'll press ourselves back up. Switching the position of our feet, the opposite one in front. Good. Bringing both hands to the earth, up on the fingertips, rolling the shoulders back, lifting our left arm over the shoulder, keeping our sit bones firmly planted, rooting through the left hip, and we'll slowly come into our side bend to the right. Reaching tall.
Breathing space between the fingertips of the left hand and the hip of the left side. Good. Inhaling, we press ourselves back up.
Planting our left hand, lifting our right. Tall stretch. And then we come over to the left side. Keeping our grounding of the right hip and sit bone. Extending our right side body. Breathing into it, creating that space for our breath. Melting away tension. Good. On the next inhale, we press ourselves up. Bringing both hands to the earth, resetting here, rolling the shoulders up and back. Sighing it out. Bringing our hands in front of us in prayer pose. Our pinkies and our thumbs are together. We tuck our hands into our chest, the elbows are into our sides, and we open up our other fingers into our lotus mudra. Eyes are closed. The muscles in our faces are soft. We draw awareness to our breath, the energy running through us. Visualizing the sense of lightness and space that we've created in our hearts and our chests. Feeling the lightness spread through us that we've created here today. Once again, bringing our reflection to mind of our collective resilience and our role within this community, our role within our circles, taking our light and love back to those communities. Closing our hands, bringing our awareness back to the breath. And then we'll lower ourselves down into our final resting pose. Shavasana to start, extending our legs beyond, rolling ourselves down nice and gently, one vertebrae at a time, shoulders and head. Perhaps we want to stay here in Shavasana, allowing our practice to imprint, taking the time that we need. And perhaps we want to go through a final hug, drawing our knees into our chest. Wide or narrow, whatever feels good. Perhaps we want to move our legs around. Perhaps we want to come into happy baby. Just finding our final movements or resting pose that suit us today in our practice. Bringing our awareness to the intention that we may have set at the beginning of our practice. Noting if it still serves us or perhaps we change it. And we set a new intention and energy for the days ahead. Bringing our awareness back to our physical sensations, maybe wiggling out the ankles and the feet. Perhaps we reach our legs and our arms long. And whenever we're ready, we can roll up, pressing ourselves back to seated pose, bringing our awareness back to the space around us. Smiles on our faces, we give thanks for the opportunity to practice together. Thanks for the collective resilience that we are creating and building. Thanks for all the tools in our toolbox, which includes each one of us. May the light in you spread through your circles and your communities. Namaste.